Hello everyone, this is Pauks the Fashion Workshop. I remind you that we post new videos every day. You often ask me to show you how to sew this or that. I do look through the pictures to see which I like better. This is the design which I'm going to show you today. Have a close look at the picture. This is a long shirt or short dress. Notice that there's one more detail attached on top of the main one. It goes right to the bottom. Due to this fold, the detail goes to the side seam. Here's the first fold. Have a look at the dummy. There's one more fold here. When I first looked at the picture, I didn't think that I would face any difficulties making this garment. Once I started working on the pattern, I had a lot of questions. Should I make it of knitted fabric in order to avoid making darts? Where to place the darts if I don't want to make the garment of knitted fabric? It took me quite a lot of time to make a pattern for this garment. I didn't want these parts to be baggy. This is a mock-up. I'm going to show you how to make exactly the same detail. I'm not going to make a full-size shirt. I'll just make one more front detail. It will be more beautiful. The design turned out to be pretty complicated. I tried about 3 or 4 ways of making a pattern for this garment. There are 3 layers of fabric here. Have a look at the picture. It's obvious that these details are pretty strong. What should we pay attention to? Due to the fact that there's a fold here, both the wrong and the right sides of fabric should be even. I'm going to show you the piece of fabric I'll be working with. Have a look here once again. Due to the fact that there's a fold here, the right and the wrong sides of fabric change. The first fold is placed in between the center front and the chest dart. Don't worry, I'll show you what to do. As I've already said, the design is pretty complicated. Anyway, I'm sure that at least some of you will manage to make such shirts. You guys are very talented. Have a look at the table. These are the front and the back patterns. I've made them longer. I can move the back aside because I'm going to work just with the front detail. The design is pretty complicated, so the videos will be long enough even without making the back. What should I start with? I need to draw the first fold. As I've already said, it should be placed in between the center front and the chest dart. I think it should end here. Next, I'm going to draw this line. This is the next line to be drawn. That's it. This is the pattern for the lower layer of the front. It shouldn't be cut. I remind you that there's a chest dart here. This is the detail which I'm talking about. Next, I need to draw the patterns for these details. As I've already said, the design is pretty complicated. You need to be patient and attentive. It would have been much easier to make a blouse if I removed this dart. I decided not to do it, because I don't want the armholes to be baggy. This is why I decided not to get rid of the chest dart. I am going to move part of this opening here, but not all of it. I prefer to sew and wear accurate, high-quality garments. This is why I'm not looking for the easy ways of sewing. Have a look here. There's a straight line here, in between the center front and the dart top. You can place this point wherever you want. This is the point which I'm talking about. This is where it's placed in my pattern. I drew the line starting from this point. The first one goes down to the ankle and the second one up. It ends a bit under the waistline. Let's continue working with the pattern. I didn't expect this shirt to turn out to be that complicated. I folded the pattern in half, and next I need to outline the fold with a marker pen. Guys, be very attentive. Watch what I'm doing. This is the line I'm working with now. Next, I need to fold this piece of tracing paper in half and lay the fold right on this line in the original pattern. Please be very attentive. Very nice. I need to pin the pattern. I don't want to make mistakes. We need to be very careful and attentive when making the pattern. It took me a pretty long time to find the best way of making a pattern with this shirt. Next, I need to turn the details this way and cut the extra piece. The front pattern already consists of the two details. I remind you that there are the 3 layers of fabric here in the mock-up. The shoulder seam, the armhole, don't change anything. Cut just right along the original pattern. Do not forget about the chest dart. I tried removing the chest darts. The armholes are so baggy in this case that I decided that it's just a waste of time. Let's have a look at what we have here. This is the front pattern, the original front detail, and the second one folded in half. I remind you that the second detail is pinned not to the center front. I'll actually sign the center front for you not to make mistakes. I'll also sign the waistline. Here it is. Next, I need to make a notch in the waistline in all the 3 layers. It should be done this way for us not to make mistakes. Have a look at the first bias line, the one which goes down. Here it is. I need to outline it in the second detail. It's not hard to do it. Next, I need to cut the lower part in the second detail. Please be patient and careful. I know that the pattern is pretty complicated. Next, I need to draw the second bias line. Notice that I've cut the 2 layers here. Next, I need to cut just 1 layer. I'll start cutting a bit lower. I don't need this line anymore. You can draw the lines however you want. It's up to you how to change the design. These are the 3 layers of the front detail. The first one, the second one, and the third one. There's a chest dart here. I haven't changed it yet. What should we do next? I need to detach the lower detail and move it aside. I'm not going to change it. It should look in the garment exactly like it did in the basic pattern. The thing is that it should be used for drawing the upper layers and its bases. Have a look here. First, I need to sign the right side in this detail. This is how the first detail looks like now. You can see that it hasn't been changed. There will be a dart in the first layer. Here it is in the mock-up. If you don't make a dart, the shirt won't fit you. I can move the first detail aside. This is the detail I'll be working with now. I remind you that the fold should match this line in the first detail. Next, I'll be working just with the second detail. The pattern is pretty complicated, so we'll continue working with it in the next video. That's all for today. My name is Irina. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Goodbye.